The road in the Motor City as Edmonton begins a 4-game trip. We get you set for the Oilers and the Red Wings here on the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show. Tom Gazzola live on location at Boston Pizza Westgate, just across the street from West Edmonton Mall. Come on down. We got some great stuff for you. A ton of giveaways. I'm going to show you some GCs, really cool speaker, and of course, there's a raffle here. Lots to get into about the perks of coming down to BP when we are on location. So huge shout out to Curtis and Tony and the entire staff at Boston Pizza Westgate. Recently renovated as well. They've got the golf simulator, $20 an hour for the golf simulator. That is a steal of a deal. All right, text us 780-218-9999. Get into the nasty chat. We'll be back here on location tomorrow for the Oilers and the Blue Jackets as well. Hernan Salas over at ESTHQ. Nancito, how are we doing tonight?
We're doing good, Tommy. It's a first Sunday for us. So, feeling good. Boys coming off a big win. Of course, you were doing the sidelines, did a magnificent job covering the Edmonton Oilers last game.
You.
But like I was telling you, when they win that in that fashion, the post-game show almost does itself, Tommy. So it was an easy night. The Nasties were very, very happy. So all in all, a good night, man.
How much Stuart Skinner hate did you guys get on the post-game show? I'm kidding.
None. Actually, none. And then we gave him some extra love. We even played his post-game comments for the people that were hard. Because, Tommy, I know you were doing the Elks game, but in the third period and late in the second, he made 2 amazing saves off some brutal giveaways. So he held them in there. And on the other side, the Penguins' young goalie, Joel Blomqvist was fantastic up until the 34th shot, and then it all fell out. It went all bad for Pittsburgh then.
Yeah, well, if you watched Pittsburgh last night, it went all bad in the third period for them. They were doing so well, and the Canucks just flexed on them and ended up winning that game. All right, we're going to get you set for this one. Myself and Nanso will get Matty Kassian on here as well in about 7 or 8 minutes' time. We'll get you geared up as the Oil and Red Wings go toe-to-toe for the first of 2 meetings. The Oilers 3-4-1, Detroit 4-4 on the year. Of course, GCL Diesel, providers of the best diesel engine components around, from turbochargers to injectors, fuel pumps to sensors. They are the critical engine component experts, proud to serve Edmonton and Northern Alberta for over 50 years. I'm going to go to starting lineups. We're going to get into the injury report. And then, Nanso, you're going to give out the question of the night. Is that cool?
Yeah, that's cool.
All right, brother, let's get into it. Starting lineups, this is what we're anticipating between the Oil and the Red Wings. The Red Wings did play last night, lost to Buffalo. The Oil, of course, Friday night here at home against those Pittsburgh Penguins. All right, for the Oilers, this is what we're anticipating. McDavid between Nugent-Hopkins and Hyman. Draisaitl with Podkolzin and Arvidsson. Henrique with Skinner and Brown. Ryan between Janmark and Perry. On defense, Ekholm with Bouchard. Nurse with Stetcher. Kulak with Emberson. No Travis Dermott. Nanso, and to our listeners and viewers, I would ask, Podkolzin, I was a little bit hesitant about putting him up there. I thought it was just a quick stopgap, maybe very temporary. It could still be very temporary, but by all accounts, in all, outside of just, watching the highlights and reading the post-game breakdowns and stuff like that, Podkolzin put together a decent night, didn't he, Nanso?
He was pretty good, Tom. He didn't look like he fit in on that line, and I know Cass and I talked post game, and I think we were both pleasantly surprised with what he brought. He mucked it up. What we like, Tom, he goes to the net, and I think that's very, very important for this team that sometimes lacks that. So yeah, very impressed by Podkolzin. This might not be a long-term thing, but in the short term, after one game, it was very good. Hopefully, he can continue that tonight. And we'll see how he does. And he also got his first point, which is always good. A lot of guys got off the schneid on Friday night. But Podkolzin, so far, after one game in the top 6, I got to say he impressed. It wasn't like, oh, my God, Tom, like, what a player. But he did a lot better than I thought he would.
I think if you're pleasantly surprised about a guy getting bumped up from the 3rd and 4th line to top 6, and he gives you a decent night, you're in a good situation. So indicative of the night, indicative of the performance, and maybe the effort, and it comes together for Vasily Podkolzin. Will remain on that line with Draisaitl and Arvidsson. Arvidsson as well, 3 points, and we're going to talk to him about him a little bit later on with Matt Kassian when Cass chimes in. Let's take a look at the Red Wings now. For Detroit, keep in mind they did play last night. Dylan Larkin between Alex DeBrincat and Lucas Raymond. JT Compher with Joe Foligno and Patrick Kane. Marco Kasper between Vladimir Tarasenko and Jonathan Berggren. Say that one 3 times really fast. Andrew Kopp centering Michael Rasmussen and Christian Fischer. On defense for the Wings, Simon Edvinsson and Mo Seider. Ben Sherratt with Jeff Petrie. That's a big veteran second pairing there for the Red Wings. And then you've got Eric Gustafsson, who was an Oilers draft pick way back in the day, with Justin Hall. No Albert Johansson and no Oli Mata expected tonight. If that changes, we will pass that along your way later on in the program. Starting in goal tonight for the Oilers, it will be 32-year-old Calvin Pickard, 1-1 on the season, 328 goals against average, 852 save percentage in his 3 appearances this season. Pickard versus the Red Wings, lifetime 3-1 record, 220 GAA, 914 save percentage in 4 appearances versus Detroit over the course of his career. And then a familiar face at the other end of the rink, 37-year-old Cam Talbot, 2-1 this season, 321 goals against average, 913 save percentage, and 1 shutout in 4 games this year. Talbot versus the Oilers, a 4-2-1 record, 192 goals against average, 937 save percentage, 1 shutout in 8 games versus the Oil over the course of, well, I mean, he's getting up to over a dozen years in the NHL, bit of a late bloomer. I think he got to the Red Wings mid-20s. So, yeah, he an elder statesman with the Red Wings and an all-star last year with the LA Kings. So there are your starting goalies as well as your lineups for this Oilers Red Wings matchup. That brings us to the Advantage Sports Medicine Injury Report. At Advantage Sports Medicine and Physiotherapy, we treat you like the pros. Our multidisciplinary team includes sports medicine physicians, along with highly skilled physiotherapists, strength and conditioning coaches, and massage therapists. And whether you're recovering from an injury or looking to enhance performance, we treat you like a pro using the same locker room approach trusted by the best in the game. For the Oilers tonight, Evander Kane. You're going to hear this for the majority of the regular season, probably towards late February, early March, unless he comes back early like he talks about his body's capable of doing. He's not the youngest guy anymore, but I think he prides himself on recovering quickly. Abdominal surgery, obviously had like 6 different things that needed to be fixed. He is on LTIR. As for the Detroit Red Wings, they're in a good spot. Just Tyler Mott on the IR for them. That's the only injury of note. So there you go. There's your Advantage Sports Medicine Injury Report. All right, Hernan, Salas, let's get to the question of the night. Text us 780-218-9999 and then get into the nasty chat as well. Let us know what you think when Nanso gives us the question of the night.
Yeah, the All Stream pregame show question of the day. The Oilers, this is their first lengthy, somewhat road trip of the season. So it's very simple, Tom. How many wins will the Oilers finish with on their 4-game road trip? They're at Detroit today, Columbus tomorrow, Nashville on Thursday, Calgary on Sunday. What say you, Nasties? We're throwing it out on Twitter as well. Will they finish with 1, 2, 3, or 4 wins? 0 is not an option because I'm keeping it positive, Tom.
Oh, I like that. Very nice. Very nice. Okay. You're noticing the QR code there from BP's. We're live on location, Boston Pizza Westgate. Check that QR code out on your phone. It'll take you somewhere, obviously. I also want to pass along this. We've got some $25 GCs to give out. And here's the speaker. Tony was showing me all of the stuff that we're giving away. This is a really nice speaker here, the Art of Sound. Look at this. I got the Vizzy. I got it upside down. Want to show it off. Nanso, look at this. You could boom the tunes there. I can hear Cass. Cass likes it. His voice would sound great on that speaker. I've got these hats with some handkerchiefs. Obviously, you're having a little fun with that. But then here's where it gets really, really good. People always love these. Okay. Tony he went into the tickle trunk back there. Boston Pizza Westgate. You got an Oilers t-shirt. I got a couple of those to give away tonight. Very nice. And then I know Zach becomes a huge UFC guy. We've got some UFC hats to give away. Snapback. So adjustable, and it can fit anyone. This is really cool too. We got some Bauer. Oh no, these are UFC T-shirts as well. Hernan, a couple of those, and then these are the Bauer pullovers. They're really nice with Molson Canadian, kind of like that throwback maple leaf.
Yeah.
So people will be like, "What is that?" It's not just a huge like Molson Canadian logo. It's like it almost looks like the RCAF Royal Canadian Air Force logo with the Molson Canadian wording around it. I got some mitts because it's getting cold. I got some toques, and then this one's actually really, really nice. I think this is a nice like hoodie pullover, and with a nice fleece liner. I think it's Bauer as well. So come on down. We're giving that out tonight here at Boston Pizza Westgate. They've got the golf simulator, $20 an hour for the golf simulator. That's one of the best rates going that I've seen in the city. And Tony and Curtis, managers here, said they tried it out, and they're like, it's really good. And if you're a manager, you got to test out the new gear. They said it's awesome. So
Tom.
it is great. And they, like I said, they renovated in here. We have done shows here. We did Oil Stream from here not too long ago. Dusty and I think last season. We haven't done a pre and post, but the refresh in here has been fantastic. So come on down. Lots of great giveaways and prizes. We've got a raffle going as well here at Boston Pizza Westgate, just across the street from West Edmonton Mall. Okay. Nanso, question of the night one more time, and then we're going to bring Cass in.
How many wins will the Oilers finish with on their 4-game road trip that season? Go to Detroit this afternoon, Columbus tomorrow, Nashville Thursday, Calgary Sunday. Tom, and the leading candidate right now is 3 on Twitter with 43%.
All right, well,
positivity.
Norman at Combine says 2-1-1, slowly getting things going. And then also jokingly asked if I have vape charger. I do have a vape charger because VR Montenegro left me with one, and I have it still. Big Uke says 3 wins for sure. Yeah, OTL, that could go either way. I think the last game versus Pitt was huge for the team, with a few guys getting going. All right, bring him in. He's our game analyst. He is Matt Kassian. He is ready to rock. Buongiorno, Matteo. How you doing today, Cass? Oh, are you muted? Are you there? You're muted. Can you hear him?
He's muted.
Do we have him? He's muted.
Not on our end.
He says he's not muted. All right, Cass, reconnect. I'll get to a couple of texts here. 780-218-9999. How many wins is the question of the night? Will the Oilers get on this 4-game road trip? What else? I saw Chili Cheese. Chili Cheese says, Tommy, I'm coming in, and we're on our way. That's the Combine crew. Perfect. It's going to be great. Derek Van Diest, as well as I think his buddy Larry is coming in. So we should have a few people coming down to watch the game. Hernan's going to make his way over there. Cass, are you ready? I'm going to give it a shot here. He says he's ready. All right. Can we hear you now?
Why can't we hear him?
Why can't we hear him?
On our end, so
no. All right, we're going to have to try that again. In the meantime, let's go over some of the stats. Yeah, Nanso, you take care of that. Let's go over to the stats. So we're talking about special teams. The Oilers have been struggling so far this year. Right now, heading into action tonight, the Oil 27th in the league on the power play, 3 for 21. The Red Wings, meanwhile, 17th in the National Hockey League with a 5 for 26 clip. On the PK, though, Edmonton's still sitting 32nd at 58.3%. So a better night, obviously, against Pittsburgh in that shutout win. And then the Detroit Red Wings sit 31st. This is how much ahead of Edmonton they are. 6 points. 64.3% with a short-handed goal scored. I can hear Cass now, I think. Oh, I hear him loud and clear. Let's get him in, our game analyst, Matt Kassian, ready to rock as we get to Game Changers. Brought to you, as always, by Damon Bunting, Remax Elite. Damon Bunting is a consistent top-producing realtor in Greater Edmonton and among Western Canadian Remax realtors. He and his team would love to help you find that right home or make the move from your current home. Community-driven, he understands what it makes a difference in our city. Check him out, DamonBunting.com, or visit his Instagram at Damon Bunting Real Estate. Cass, how are you? I saw your dad on the sidelines the other day.
I'm good. Yeah, he was happy with that one. A little, I think, a little nerves. a little nervous towards the end of it, but he was pretty pumped with a big win for the old Edmonton Elk. And yeah, I don't know what's going on there, Tommy. I wasn't muted on my end, so technological difficulties, but we sorted through it. We're good to go and ready to break this one down, heading into it.
All right. I'm excited. Let's dive right in. Number one tonight on Game Changers with Matt Kassian. The dopamine swing. Cass, whatever do you mean?
Whatever do I mean? Well, there's something that happens scientifically with your brain. It's the reason you may have a big win. Something really good happens to you, and then the next day you feel kind of blue. You feel kind of down. You get that big old dopamine hit, and then it swings back the other way, a little bit past your normal median. And the tendency when you have big wins can be to sit back, to feel comfortable, to feel confident, to think it's just going to happen, to expect to win without putting in the type of effort or play style that you need to. And for the Edmonton Oilers, after having a really huge win from a momentum standpoint, from a play standpoint, from a getting guys going standpoint, you're vulnerable to take a step back. Now, that's two solid games in a row, one where you get 1 point in the overtime loss against Carolina, one where you get 2 points with a whole game win against the Pittsburgh Penguins, and you're heading into Detroit here, getting out on the road, Tommy. You got to make sure you keep that equilibrium, keep that even keel, as said over and over and over in hockey locker rooms, not too high, not too low. Now you have there's been a few games this season where the message inside the room has probably been, no, not too low, don't get too down. Coming out of Pittsburgh or the game against Pittsburgh, the message in the room is going to be, well, don't get too high. Let's not get too confident and comfortable. It was a good game, step in the right direction. We got to take another step. So from a focus and a mentality standpoint, Tom, you got to keep an even keel heading into this one.
How do you assess that win against the Pittsburgh Penguins, Cass? Because it's not like they're world beaters and expected to be a really, obviously not a contender, but they might compete for a wild card spot like they did. They kind of teased everybody late last season, but you don't want to get too high. You don't want to get too low, like you said, with that dopamine swing. That win over Pittsburgh, how should the Oilers embrace it?
Well, it doesn't matter if that was the Winnipeg Jets or the Calgary Flames or the Dallas Stars or the Pittsburgh Penguins. It doesn't matter who it is. You played a good game. And you played a complete game. You played a dominant game in a lot of ways, 5-on-5, where you controlled the puck. You had the lion's share of chances. And if not for some good goaltending, you would have been winning by a bunch more. So, Tommy, for the Edmonton Oilers, I don't think it matters who it is. The tendency could be to get too high enough because you finally played a good game. That was the first fully, truly, complete, good game, great game that the Edmonton Oilers played this year. And so, again, I don't think it matters who it is. You still have to just kind of get yourself to feel good about it, feel happy about it, but then just start preparing yourself to try to carry the momentum forward and have another really good game here and start stringing some wins together.
Fair point. Number one on Game Changers tonight, the dopamine swing. Number two with Matt Kassian, our game analyst, again with the special teams. Cass, go on.
Well, the 31st and 32nd ranked penalty kills on display here today with the Detroit Red Wings and the Edmonton Oilers. Two teams that have just struggled on special teams, and Detroit's been a little bit better on the power play, but not by a massive margin. But it's a type of game when we look at it, we go, special teams very well likely could win or lose this game. And for both the teams, a team that actually manages to execute on their power play against a penalty kill on both sides that's absolutely struggling is going to be absolutely essential. So it's an interesting game where you have two teams that, one should be a playoff team in the Edmonton Oilers, one should be pushing for a playoff spot in the Detroit Red Wings, and both their special teams have just struggled so far this year. So an opportunity really for both groups to try to have some success against another team that's struggling in this area. So for as much as I, didn't think we'd be talking a lot about special teams, we're talking a lot about special teams.
We are.
Specifically the power play for Edmonton, Tom, another opportunity here against the penalty kill that's absolutely struggled with the Detroit Red Wings to maybe turn the tide a little bit and have a night.
I like their chances of being able to do that. So there you go. Shout out to the Combine crew who have just arrived looking good. I see a Talbot jersey. Norm's got a Talbot jersey on.
Awesome.
Is that crossing the lines, mixing signals there?
Nah, I think
Talbot's
it's still
starting
good.
tonight.
It's still good. Still an Oilers jersey.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just disappointed if you talk to him that he's not wearing his Combine Crew golf shirt from the nasty golf tournament that we had there. I was on Norm's team with Norm and a couple of his boys, which was an absolute blast. So
I can't see it. No.
Yeah, they should be wearing that one. They better be wearing it underneath the jersey. I hope
Norm,
he's wearing
you wearing
it.
the Combine Crew golf shirt under there? He says no, not tonight.
No,
Sorry,
that's
Cass.
okay. Still send love to his direction. Awesome,
Cass
awesome guy.
He says thank you, Cass. He says you haven't worn yours yet. I love this. The Combine Crew on location here at Boston Pizza Westgate. If you're wondering what that QR code is on your screen, if you're watching on YouTube, that'll take you to the Golf Sim booking website, and the Golf Sim $20 an hour, an absolutely fantastic rate. When I've played Golf Sims, some of them are like $40 an hour. Now that they're becoming more prevalent, I know some are down to like $30 an hour. This one here, which is fantastic inside the lounge at BP Westgate, is $20 an hour, and even a big boy like you could swing full pull with no problem. Could clear that ceiling. It's looking good over there. I might have to see if I have a club that I can go and swing a bit. All right, that was number 2 on Game Changers, is again with the special teams with Matt Kassian, our game analyst. Number 3, I like this one. He had a very nice night the other night. Arvidsson Rising, Matt Kassian.
Yeah, finally has a night. By far and away the best game that Victor Arvidsson has had as an Edmonton Oiler, and one that we kind of were waiting for and expecting. You know, that was the Victor Arvidsson we thought we were going to get from the start of the season, where he was active, he was engaged, he was around the puck, he was around the net, had some good flow in the offensive zone with Leon Draisaitl, and they were able to create a lot of offense and offensive opportunity, and just had a heck of a night and got rewarded for it on the score sheet. And a guy that's going to be important here. Now there's still Oilers that need to get going. You know, Zach Hyman has to find a way to put the puck in the back of the net. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins gets a goal last game. So there's other guys too that are hopefully starting to turn things around a little bit here, but he was the most prevalent one. Out of any of the guys that had struggled so far this year, he had the best night against the Pittsburgh Penguins. So look for him to build some momentum here. Would be great to continue to see that chemistry between Arvidsson and Leon Draisaitl.
Yes.
So a big night for him. You know, like I said, you want to see teams that are good teams find ways to string games together, string wins together. Good players find ways to string good games one after another. Let's see if Victor Arvidsson can do it this afternoon for the Edmonton Oilers.
He gets rewarded 3-point night. Vasily Podkolzin as well on that line, and he picked up his first point of the season and as a member of the Edmonton Oilers. Cass, how do you look at his situation, getting that bump up to the second line with Draisaitl and Arvidsson?
Well, pretty good opportunity for a young guy that, as I said on the post-game show against Pitt, it's been growing on me a little bit. I was a little uncertain where exactly he was going to fit, what type of player we're going to see, but he seemed to work decently well with those guys. Now gets the opportunity. He's got to continue to run with it here. Now, he isn't a player you're going to look at on that line and expect him to do a lion's share of the work, but he's got to execute when he has opportunities, which means he has to make plays when he's got the puck on his stick. He has to get to the front of the net, cause some chaos. He has to help on the forecheck to turn pucks over, has to find ways to get that puck to Leon Draisaitl and get to the net to make things happen. So a huge opportunity for him. Now we need to see more. We saw one game and he seemed to work okay with them. And the proof is going to be, I think, beyond even today, is the more he has an opportunity with those guys, if they're not having a great night, well, what is he capable of? What does he bring to the table? Can he, if there's struggles on that line early, is he a guy that can maybe shift some momentum with either a physical play or just some just straight up effort on that line? So another big opportunity for him, Tom. We haven't seen a ton of them there yet, but game 1 looked pretty good. So now we're at game 2 with him playing with Leon Draisaitl and Victor Arvidsson, and a chance for him to maybe turn our heads a little bit more.
Yeah. Fair enough. It is Game Changers with our game analyst, Matt Kassian. Tom Gazzola with you live on location, Boston Pizza Westgate, just across the street from West Edmonton Mall. And then Hernan Salas back at ESTHQ. Cass, before I want to ask you some things about the defense, obviously. But before we get to that, with things going the way they are for Zach Hyman, he picked up his point, the goal scoring. He's a 54 goal scorer last year. Are you concerned that maybe it's getting into his head, or are you still seeing enough positive stuff that it'll just come? It'll happen. He'll get it. It'll be an ugly one. I'm starting to worry that maybe he's getting the yips and it's getting in his mind, but I don't want to believe that. To me, I sense it a little bit. How do you see that?
Well, I think it's easy to see just even body language that he's feeling it, that he not necessarily has a yips, but he feels like nothing he does is going to work and the puck's just not going in for him. Now, going to be on him just to keep getting those chances. Now, I'm not worried about him. And the reason I'm not, Tom, is because the chances have been there. The chances have been there. Now, he's a guy that has shown that he has scored. He's done it consistently. He did it all the time last year. And yes, it's been a struggle so far this year. But when one goes in, that weight's going to be lifted. They'll start coming. Again, he's had all kinds of chances, 3 or 4 again last game, and good chances, not like kind of just bounced off him and almost winning. Like he had some really good looks in front of the net. He's had a couple where goalies have made big saves. That one backhander in the third period. Now the game was over at that point, but still for him, would have been really nice to bury that. But I'm not concerned about it. Now, I think he feels the pressure of it. He feels the weight of it. It's just going to take him continuing to work for those chances, and it'll come. And when that first one goes in, Tom, I do believe it'll be like the dam breaking, and all of a sudden, the puck's going to start to go in for him over and over again. And really, you get the number of good looks that he's had the last couple of games, the puck's going to start to go in.
Positive vibes, put it out into the universe. Okay, let's flip over to the blue line. Ty Emberson back in action the other night. I saw him make a couple of nice plays. Your thoughts on his overall game? And then, Darnell Nurse back on the left side. How do you think he's been playing? The defense as a whole, Cass? Your overall opinion of it as well. Let's start with Emberson.
Yeah, well, the last 2 games, they've done a really good job, or a better job. I mean, Pittsburgh, they did a great job. Carolina, there were still some grade A opportunities given up, but they did a better job at limiting some of the total shot volume. And Darnell Nurse, he settled in a little bit. Now, I love that he gets in that scrap, and I know some people don't like it, but that's Darnell Nurse just being involved, being a guy that's going to stand up for his teammates. And I'm old school. I love that stuff. So good for him. That made me happy that he got in there and, stands up for a teammate and gets in a little fisticuff. So props to him. We didn't talk about that on the post-game show, or at least I didn't, but good for him for getting in that and standing in there. And it continues to be a little bit of a carousel on that back end. Will probably continue to be. Now, group as a whole, I mean, Ekholm and Bouchard were absolutely fantastic against Pittsburgh. Fantastic. And they kind of pulled the rest of the D group along here. And they may have to be the guys that do that again. But if Darnell can continue to settle in, keep his game simple, he'll be okay, regardless of who's playing on that line. Now, they still need to find a long-term solution, and we have that rotation of guys going through, so not necessarily super consistent for Darnell Nurse in terms of who he's playing with, but again, an opportunity here against a team that has probably struggled to generate some 5-on-5 chances as much as they'd like in the Detroit Red Wings anyways, but does have some speed and will score if you start to give them the opportunities. A big night for Darnell Nurse just to continue, as the rest of the team as well, to build some momentum.
All right, let's get the Latino heat in here. Nanso, I want you to fire Cass the question of the night. I'm kind of curious to know what he thinks about this road trip too.
Yeah, for sure. Cass, how many wins will the Oilers finish with on their 4-game road trip that starts tonight in Detroit, then Columbus, then Nashville, then Calgary?
Yeah, I had pegged it at 3, which I think is the running percentage right now. They have the high, and that before you had asked the question, or I had seen the poll is what I had pegged it going in. I do think they start to build some momentum here. I think they win today against Detroit. I think they beat Columbus. Now, Nashville, Calgary, you win one of those, you come away happy on a road trip. If you can go 3-1 on this road trip, that's a win. Now, anything I would say, if you're 2-1-1 or better, that's a win. That's where you want to be heading on a road trip for 4 games. You end up above 500 in that regards. And for the Edmonton Oilers, you end up above 500 from a record standpoint if you get there. So important for them to have it. But yeah, I think they go 3-1 here, guys.
Cass, you always like watching other teams. Last time against Carolina, we talked about Jacob Slavin. I know on the post-game show, you're excited to watch Moritz Seider, a hell of a defenseman here. He just keeps getting better and better.
just keeps getting better and better. And it's same in like as Slavin, where it's like he can do it all, which is one of the great things about him. It's like he can play defensively well, but he's got a ton of offensive upside, moves the puck really well, skates really well. So he's like a utility guy where it's like he can do everything. Really good first pass, pretty elusive on the forecheck in terms of spinning off of guys and moving the puck up ice, but not afraid to jump up ice, get involved in the offense. Offensive zone, he does like creeping in a little bit. So you have to be aware as a winger. You always have to be aware when he's on the ice because he will slide on right by you, find his way into the high slot and generate some opportunity. And off the rush as well, really important that you have good sort outs because he is a guy that has the legs to jump into the rush. So on the forechecking side for the Edmonton Oilers with Seider, it's really important to get your hits in on him. And I'm not talking like absolutely running him over, although great if you can. We're talking about just getting that bump on him, slowing him down, limiting his ability to jump up and get in the rush. Because if you let him get in cleanly all the time, they will generate some offense.
Matty Kassian, great stuff as always on Game Changers. Enjoy watching it, and I look forward to catching up with you after the Oilers and the Red Wings.
Absolutely, guys. Looking forward to watching this one and talking with you after.
Ooh, yeah. Cass is ready. He's a busy boy, but he's good to go for tonight's Oilers-Red Wings matchup. That was Game Changers, brought to you, as always, by Damon Bunting Remax Elite. If you're looking to buy or sell, contact Damon Bunting at DamonBunting.com or visit his Instagram at Damon Bunting Real Estate. All right, it is the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show, live on location, Boston Pizza, Westgate. If you're going, where's that one? Across the street from West Edmonton Mall on 90th Ave and 170th Street. Can't miss it. It's got a nice refresh. The lounge is looking good. And they've got the golf simulator. Like I said, $20 an hour is the rate. That's one of the best I've seen in the city. And it's sitting there waiting to be used. I can see it right now. Things are picking up. We've got the Combine crew here. Norm's got a 6 o'clocker lager. Oh, yeah, we've got a couple of 6 o'clocker lagers going. I've got one here. You can get it can form here at BP Westgate. Also, if you want to book the simulator, just scan that QR code if you're watching on YouTube. And then the other thing I want to point out here at BP Westgate is they're throwing a kids' Halloween party. That is going to be absolutely tremendous. Here's the details for it. On the 31st from 3 to 6, dress up in your favorite costume, dive into our Monster Bash, enjoy face painting, Halloween treats, and a colorful coloring contest. And it's a frightfully fun time for everyone. Don't be a ghost. Call and reserve your table, 780-481-6822. So it's the kids' Halloween party here at BP. Westgate, 170th Street and 90th Ave. Nanso, if you were to come to that, what would you wear?
I'm not. Ooh, I'm caught off guard right now.
Good question, right?
I'm not a big costume guy, so how about I'll go as Chong from Cheech and Chong, nice and easy. Just
Okay.
the all jean outfit with a nice bandana and some
I like
sunglasses,
it.
and I'm good. Yeah, something simple.
They're going to have face painting. You could get your costume that way, I guess. There's Polka Ghost. First 20 kids, 12 and under, can Polka Ghost, score a special treat bag. And then there's also Fizzy Worm Slush, raspberry puree with citrus slush and 7-Up, topped with whipped cream and strawberry sauce with a gummy worm on top. That's pretty sweet.
It
What were you gonna
is.
say?
And I thought you were asking about an adult Halloween. Sorry. I'd go as Spider-Man. Let's leave it at that. If it was, if I had kids and
They don't have to know what Cheech and Chong are. Oh, that's good. All right. 780-218-9999. What else strikes you about this Red Wings team? Like, how do you look at them, Nanso? Because, I mean, I feel like this should be a win for the Oilers, but I am at that point with this team, this Oilers team, where I'm like, they should go into every game expecting to win it because of what they've been able to accomplish the last few years.
So they're coming off, they had rattled off 3 straight wins until yesterday, lost to the Sabres on the road 5-3. I mean, I think they're going to be a better test than Pittsburgh.
Okay.
I think they're better. I think they got younger players that are trending in the right direction. They got it mixed with some wily vets there as well, Tom. So I think this is going to be a good test. And the thing about Detroit, it's when the Oilers play in Detroit, it's always a tough game for some reason for the Edmonton Oilers, right? So, but I mean, DeBrincat's good, Larkin's good. You got the young guys like Lucas Raymond, the veteran Tarasenko and Patrick Kane. Like, it's a solid team and a team that's trying to take that next step to the wild card to the playoffs, right, Tom? They're trying to compete for that. That's what they're trending. They remind me a lot of like the Oilers from 5-6 years ago, still trying to find their groove. What are they? I think Stevie Y's done a pretty decent job there. Between the pipes, you're probably a little bit concerned with Cam Talbot and who's the other goalie there?
Alex Lyon.
Alex Lyon. So for me, those are the things that kind of. I think that might be their downfall. But, yeah, I think – and we got a text in here saying, I just kind of – Coach Mike says, were the Oilers that good last game or were the Penguins that bad? I think it was a bit of both. I mean, it's not like Pittsburgh gets outshot 50 to whatever it was every game, right? But I thought the Oilers really came out and put their foot down, and it took them a while to find that goal, but they finally did. And once they got the first one, the floodgates opened. But like I said, I think Detroit's a better matchup. I think it's a tougher matchup, and anytime these teams meet up, I like the offense they both can bring. So Tom, it's gonna be interesting. And I was looking at their special teams too. Like their PK is not very good. They're at 64.3%. The power play is a little bit better at 19, but we know the Oilers' special teams issue. So this might come down to special teams again. I feel like I say that every game.
The Oilers' special teams are terrible right now, but they should be better. Like, they should expect to win every game. That's an interesting question, Coach Mike. Like, were the Oilers that good last game, or were the Penguins that bad? That was texted into the inbox from Coach Mike, 780-218-9999. And then Coach Mike followed that up with what's repeatable from the last game. I think the process, right, Hernan, like, it, regardless of how bad the Pittsburgh Penguins might be, you got a pretty thorough win. It wasn't the cleanest. You needed Stu Skinner to make some nice saves in that third period when things got a bit sloppy. But those are correctable mistakes, right? And, I mean, the Oilers are prone to making the same mistakes over and over, that they frustrate the fan base. We've seen that many, many times over the years, I know. But I think even like the mental hurdle of just getting a nice, not easy win, but comfortable win, I think could build a bit of confidence for this group, and let's see if they can carry it into tonight.
Yeah, I agree. And you know what was important last game, Tommy? There was 33 shots in. The Oilers were all over them. They didn't go away from their goal because they got frustrated, right? Like they kept playing the same way. They kept putting pucks on net and attacking the net, because Cass brought that up. He said, when you're playing a rookie goaltender, there's not so much throwing everything on the net in terms of the puck. He goes, but going to the net, crashing the net, making him uncomfortable. And the Oilers did that initially for the first 33 shots. He was just really good. A lot of them hit him in the crest too, not taking anything away from the young man because he was excellent. But you saw it as soon as Draisaitl was able to break the goose egg there, they were able to keep it flowing, and it didn't go away. And Tom, the important part here is they didn't get a power play till late in the second, right? So it's not like they were depending on that or waiting for that to break through, right? So
they went back to the old power play.
They did. Yeah, we should probably that was the question of the night on Friday, Tom. When the first power play comes, will it be the original 5 or the new unit? And it went to the original 5, and they weren't very good. Let's call it how it is. So in the second power play unit comes on with 20 seconds. They scored right off the face-off. It was just,
how about that?
Just one of those things, Tom, where but now I know we talked about it on the oil stream. Like, do now the guys on that first power play unit, Tom, look and say he's not going to separate us, guys? Like, it was a bluff.
Well, now for sure that's how they're thinking. Like, that's kind of what I was saying going into that game on Friday on the oil stream, Thursday and Wednesday when we were talking about the shuffle on the power play units. I was like, all right, you shuffle it up at practice, and then you're trying to send a message, but then the very next game, you go right back to that grouping. What message does that send? Like, that's a hollow threat.
Yeah.
So, and it didn't work. Didn't do anything. It was PP2 that got that goal. So, I don't know, Hernan. Like, I think it's now 100% these guys. If they were at all doubting the threats that, Chris Knobloch and the coaching staff were throwing at them, that doubt is gone. they know they can get away with whatever. Essentially, I don't like that.
Yeah.
Like
Either
if you're
do
going to
I,
send a
but-
message, just stick with it. Anyway, or for those guys, just score. Figure it out.
They weren't very good in the two opportunities they did get, Tom. Like on the second one, they were awful, just truly awful. Draisaitl, even though he played a pretty decent game, he had a horrible giveaway where Stuart Skinner bailed him out. Original Puzar says Wings have like a 938 team save percentage on the season. It's early, Original Puzar, and we saw this with Cam last year in LA, and then he fell off. And Alex, is it Lion or Lee?
Lion.
I mean, they weren't a playoff team, so yes, I get it. They've been good so far, but I'm saying in the long run, can that tandem hold up? Probably
I don't
likely.
know. Lion with the 940 save percentage, and like I mentioned earlier, Talbot 913. That's where OP's getting the 938, which is pretty damn good through 9 games, or is it 8 games? 8 games, pardon me. Let's see if it's sustainable. And I mean, you look at this team. They have good players. It's some good defensemen, some veterans. So that'll probably come down, obviously. But time will tell. Good point, Original Puzar. Good to hear from you, by the way, too. 780-218-9999. Yes, sir, Hernan.
How about this one from Thunderclap? Does Pickard have a soft area that shooters key on, similar to Skinner having some trouble with his glove side?
Good question.
Yeah.
Like,
I think Pickard's been pretty solid.
I'm trying to think.
If you had a weakness.
Like low blocker? What say you? Text us.
Gager, if
or
you're
get
listening.
in the message. Gager, if you're listening. Low blocker, but yeah. Joel, are you on your laptop, old man? Yes. I'm always on my laptop when I'm on location. That's how we do it. What else do we have? Easy. I hope someone at EST sending Cass's game changers to the Oilers locker room before each game. We do fax them in, Easy E. We're not sure if they're received in time, though. Yeah.
Well, we had Luke Pierce from the Old Kings on Thursday or Friday, and their PK's number 1 in the dub. And after we let him go, we're like, he should send his strategies to the good old Oilers. Of course, we're kidding. They'll find a way to turn it around. But yeah, it's gonna be an interesting. I'm always excited for Detroit. It takes me back to like when they had all the great players, the Fedorovs, the Lidstroms, and the Oilers would just get pumped in Detroit. They always played better at home against Detroit, but these games are always fun. Like Lucas Raymond leading them with 8 points. You're going to see a great young defenseman in Moritz Seider. You're going to see Patrick Kane, what he still has left. The Speedster, Dylan Larkin. Like, what concerns Oiler fans about this game? Because this team, like, the Oilers are coming in fresh, Tom, right? Because Detroit played yesterday afternoon. So the Oilers should be – I always find it that people always think the Oilers should be the most ready team here. Like, they should start off fast. But the team that played – yesterday, they're probably feeling pretty good too. They're raring to go, especially after a loss. So I'm intrigued to see the first 10 minutes of kind of who dominates. And it might go back and forth to start too, right?
Yeah, that is true. Who establishes their presence early on? And it's not like traveling from Buffalo to Detroit is that hard. It might be an hour flight. So we'll see. They did have to play yesterday. They might be a little bit nicked up, but we shall see how the Oilers decide to come out of the gates. The question of the night or day, however you want to break it down, it is a 4:00 start. Our time here in Edmonton, down in Detroit, of course, just after 6 p.m. Eastern. But Nanso put it out there. How many wins will the Oilers finish with on their 4-game road trip? 1, 2, 3, or 4? 44.4% of you saying 3. Second place is 29.6%, and then third is 2, and then a couple people actually voted 1. I feel like those are probably people that hate the Edmonton Oilers, potentially Canucks fan. I'm just kidding. 1 of 4 games on the schedule tonight. The other ones get underway later. Edmonton and Detroit kicks off tonight's NHL festivities. You've got Anaheim in New Jersey. That gets going at 5 o'clock. And then you've got Philadelphia welcoming in the Montreal Canadiens. 5 o'clock our time start there. And then the late game sees Colorado host the Ottawa Senators. Was there anything crazy about last night's 14 games that you picked up on? Because I watched that Vancouver-Pittsburgh game, and I was like, boy, Pittsburgh's hanging in there. And then they just crumbled. I was like, that makes sense.
Were leading too, Tom. And
I know. That's what I mean.
They're just a bad team. It's going to be fascinating what they do with that team because they got some. Of course, they have the old guys, but they're elite and Sidney Crosby, Chris Letang, and Evgeny Malkin. But if this team's not close, do they approach him and say, "Hey, do you guys mind if we move you, or do you want to, or what do you guys want to do to finish out your careers?" But
right.
Yeah, like you said, Winnipeg keeps rolling undefeated. They beat Calgary, who's now dropped 2 straight. Florida keeps on rolling. I really like that team. And then the poor Sharks, Tom, winless on the year. That's just a bad team. And I mean, what was it last year? They started, how many games did they go before they got their first win?
It was like 9.
So they're pretty close to it. I think they're 0-6-3 right now or something like that. And, yeah, no.
0-7-2.
0-7
are those San Jose Sharks? Yeah.
Just
no bueno.
Got a feel for the players on that team, man. It's
a
must
little
be
bit,
tough
I guess.
because they're getting, and Tom, they're not close. Like they're getting pumped.
No, they're getting destroyed.
You know what they need?
What?
A date with the Oilers. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, stop it. Okay, lineup changes for the Detroit Red Wings. We will see Olli Maatta and Albert Johansson go in for Erik Gustafsson and Justin Hall. So your lineup for the Red Wings, and we'll get to the Oilers lineup as well, of course, as we get you set for tonight's action for Detroit. Larkin between DeBrincat and Lucas Raymond. JT Compher with Joe Veleno and Patrick Kane. Marco Kasper centering Vladimir Tarasenko and Jonathan Berggren. Andrew Kopp with Michael Rasmussen and Christian Fischer on his flanks. On the back end for Detroit, Simon Edvinsson with Mo Seider, Ben Sherratt with Jeff Petrie. And then that third pairing, we'll see Olli Maatta and Albert Johansson get in with Erik Gustafsson and Justin Hall coming out. As for the Oilers, we're expecting the same lineup that got the win the other night against the Penguins. McDavid with Nugent Hopkins and Hyman. Draisaitl centering Podkolzin and Arvidsson. Henrique between Jeff Skinner and Connor Brown. Derek Ryan centering at Matthias Janmark and Corey Perry. On defense for the Oilers, Ekholm with Bouchard. Nurse with Stetcher and Kulak paired up with Ty Emerson. No Travis Dermott for the Oilers. Starting goalies, 32-year-old Calvin Pickard getting the nod. 1-1 this season. 328 goals against average. 852 save percentage in his 3 appearances. He is 3-1 lifetime versus Detroit with a 220 goals against average and a 914 save percentage in 4 appearances versus the Red Wings. And then at the other end of the rink, a familiar face, Cam Talbot, 37-year-old, is 2-1-0 this year, 321 GAA, 913 save percentage, a shutout in the 4 games he's played. And Talbot, lifetime versus the Oil, a 4-2-1 record, 192 goals against average, 937 save percentage with 1 shutout in 8 games versus Edmonton over the course of his career. Your Advantage Sports Medicine injury report for the Oilers: Evander Kane, LTIR, abdominal surgery. Roby Arventi off the IR, sent down to Bakersfield. He was rehabbing his knee up here in Edmonton, was skating with the team during the morning skates and practicing with them. He is en route or already in Baco, getting ready to establish himself with this organization, which he was traded to in exchange for Xavier Bargault and Tyler Tullio. As for the Red Wings, to complete the Advantage Sports Medicine injury report, they will be without Tyler Mott, who is on IR. All right, we can get to some of your texts, 780-218-9999, and then also some of your messages via the Nasty Chat. Tom Gazzola and Hernan Salas with you. I'm live on location, Boston Pizza, Westgate. That is 170th Street and 90th Ave, where they have the $20 golf simulator, $20 per hour. And then obviously they have 6 o'clock or lager can form. The Combine crew's enjoying some over there as well. I've got some $25 GCs. Curtis and Tony were nice enough to hook up. We've got raffle draw coming up tonight. There's a really cool Art of Sound speaker to give away. And some, Nanso, like when you come down here to watch the game, you got to see this jacket, like some Bauer jackets. This one's nice and warm.
Yeah.
Toque, mitts, some UFC T-shirts, UFC hats to give away. Oilers T-shirts provided by Molson. They're these ones, size large. Nice. And then also the Bauer pullover. This one's really nice. That'd be great for golf, especially this time of year with the cooler weather. And then some Screwball peanut butter whiskey hats with the strings. Hernan, and there's handkerchiefs too. I think this is something you're going to be going home with tonight.
Yeah, a lot of great giveaway stuff there. Courtesy of Boston Pizza. So yeah, go hang out with Tommy, and I'll be there for a bit. Maybe crush some wings.
Hell yeah.
A dog stepped on my D says, I ate some wings today. They were delicious. It's a sign.
It's a sign. Oh, I like it. Tie it in there. Quaddy via the nasty chat says, I want to see 40-plus shots today. None of this passing into the net nonsense. Norman at Combine says he wants that hat. I might have one for you. You want one? Yeah, okay. We'll see what we can do.
$10.
For you, Norm, anything. Big Uke says Screwball whiskey is unreal. Give Norm that hat. People want you to have it. So if you get the hat today, Norm, you have to take a picture and we post it on our socials. Norm says he's in. All right, cool. All right, Nat, so some final thoughts for you, and I'll get to a couple texts after as well.
Yeah, the Oilers got to get a string of wins here together, Tom. And, I mean, you're playing two teams that nothing's given in this league. You have to show up. You have to put in an effort. You have to get. You have to be good to be lucky to be good. Sure, but these next two games I'm looking at for the Oilers, they should come out with W's. That's what I'm hoping for. We'll see what happens. I know they've struggled a bit in Columbus as of late, but Detroit's always a tough game. You know they're up for it, and we've talked about this all season so far, Tom. Every team is ready to go when they're playing the Oilers. Every team.
That is very
maybe
true.
Outside of Pittsburgh, but that was just a one-off. But yeah, excited for the game. Hopefully the Oilers come out with the same kind of energy they did on Friday night, and Zach Hyman's getting closer, and hopefully the power play can strike and the PK can be good. And Mr. Calvin Pickard, who's I know he's 1-1 on the season, but I think overall he's been pretty good between the pipes, giving the Skinner the nights off. So, let's go, and we'll see what happens here. I'm calling a close game, Tom. I think I'm going to go 4-3 Edmonton.
All right. They do. The Wings do have some piss and vinegar to their game.
They do.
So I understand the rationale there. Okay, Original Puzar, another text coming in. In the long run, for sure, as you mentioned, Talbot was great last year, then fell off. I'm talking about what to expect for today's game. Also adds tomorrow in Columbus, the Oilers will be in the position the Wings are in today, but still on the road. And it's a quick hop, Detroit to Columbus. I recall, I think we made that flight a couple of times.
How long is that, Tom?
Like 40 minutes.
Okay.
If I remember correctly. Yeah, it's not that cumbersome at all. 45 minutes. RBM texts in. RBM says 3 wins or 2 wins and an OT loss, which is 5 points out of 8, which isn't bad. So if the Oilers come out of this month above 500, just above 500, I know it's not going to please people, but considering 0-3 start, and then they didn't really take the bull by the horns, let's say, as a whole. But if you're slightly above 500 to wrap up the month, I think you're okay with it, right? Like, you just grin and bear it. That's how I'd look at it. Coach Mike says, shouldn't the Oilers have Talbot's number? They absolutely shelled him in the playoffs last season. Yeah, I mean, you're like, what do you think of the Kings right now? I'm looking at the Kings right now.
They're pretty good, Tom.
I know, but 5-2-2 so far with Darcy Kemper too. Like,
we thought, Gager and I thought, no, I'm just going to speak for myself. I thought Calgary and LA would take step backs. Well, not Calgary. I didn't think Calgary would be as good as they are, but yeah, it's interesting, man. It's early season. Can they hang on? Is this sustainable for both those teams, Tommy? I think I'm a little more surprised by LA than I am Calgary, because I didn't think. I know.
Really?
Listen,
I'm surprised by Calgary, to be honest with you.
I'm surprised by both, but I thought LA would take an enormous step. I didn't like their goaltending, the loss of Doughty. They lost a lot. And then Calgary, I thought Calgary was going to be a mid-tier team. I didn't think they'd be great. I didn't think they'd be terrible. They're just hovering around that wild card spot. But we'll see if both are sustainable, because last year we saw this too. I think Anaheim started really well. Arizona started really well, and they eventually fell off.
All right, the Oilers and the Red Wings. First of two meetings this season. Edmonton looking for a second consecutive victory. The Rings looking to bounce back after a loss last night in Buffalo. The Oil beginning a 4-game home or road trip, I should say. They're in Detroit tonight, Columbus tomorrow, off to Nashville on Thursday, and then take on the Calgary Flames to begin November. Come on down. Boston Pizza Westgate. We're going to be here all night long. We've got some GCs to give away, $25 ones. I gave one to the Combine crew for coming out. They have 6 o'clock or lager in the can, and $20 if you want to play the golf simulator per hour. Great rate. And then the kids' Halloween party as well, I should mention. Come on down, 3 to 6 on Halloween. Lots of great giveaways and face painting, and they have the slushies. So lots going on here at a very nicely refreshed Boston Pizza Westgate, 170th Street, 90th Ave. Come by, say hi. Lots of great giveaways, including the Bauer gear, Oilers T-shirts, and then the big one here. Tony wanted me to make sure I mentioned it. You got the Art of Sound speaker brought to you by Vizzy Hard Seltzer. Come on down. We're doing it on the raffle tonight here at BP Westgate. All right, that's going to do it for the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show. Will the Oilers make it 2 straight? I like their chances. Appreciate everybody who watched, listened on iHeartRadio, tune in, Apple Music, EdmontonSportsTalk.com, and to everybody who watched on YouTube. Appreciate it so very, very much. For Matty Kassian and Hernan Salas, I'm Tom Gazzola saying enjoy the game. We'll talk to you after. Ciao, ciao.